No dynasty is snuffed out in a single night, yet sometimes one coaching tweak feels like the flick of a master switch. Angel Reese, the self-crowned queen of boards, just discovered that her kingdom can vanish with the stroke of a dry erase marker. Chicago's new playbook does not begin in the paint, and that revelation is sending tremors from the locker room tunnels to the very top of basketball Twitter. One question now echoes through every feed. Did the Sky just reinvent a star? Or quietly start the countdown on her reign?
I actually like some of the stuff I've seen out of their coach so far. She's having to modify an offensive role.
Keep watching, because the answer isn't merely hiding in the stat sheet. It's hiding in plain sight. Angel's rise looked inevitable. At LSU, she didn't rebound basketballs. She kidnapped them, racking up double-doubles with the urgency of a breaking news ticker. The act translated instantly to the pros. Game 2 of her rookie season? 19 rebounds against Indiana, broadcast on every highlights account before the final buzzer could cool. Jerseys sold out. The nickname Bayou Barbie morphed into a full-blown brand, and algorithms learned to spell Reese before most rookies had a verified checkmark. She wasn't merely collecting misses, she was collecting market share. But the higher the pedestal, the harsher the gravity. Opponents began to crowd the paint, daring her to try anything softer than a putback. Those challenges simmered quietly until a new voice boomed over the practice court loudspeakers. Enter Tyler Marsh, freshly imported from the Las Vegas Aces lab of spacing sorcery and championship banners. Chicago didn't just hand him a whistle, they handed him a mandate. Modernize us yesterday. Marsh spoke the language of versatility, pace, 5-out spacing, a dialect foreign to a roster still living on elbows and box-outs. During his first media scrum, he offered a polite smile and a bombshell. Every Sky forward would need to handle, shoot, and initiate. Translation: no more stationary enforcers on the low block. And that included the rookie phenom who had never met a glass she couldn't clean. Reese nodded publicly.
Her field goal percentage still isn't good. She had some nice assists the other day, but you also run the risk of devaluing her rebounds.
Privately, teammates whispered that the blueprint felt less like a renovation and more like a full-scale relocation. Marsh's first project: slide Angel 6 feet east of her comfort zone. 10 to 15-foot jumpers, short rolls into skip passes, dribble handoffs under the shot clock. In theory, it unlocks the floor. In practice, it puts a harsh spotlight on a stat Reese never posted on Instagram: 39.1% from the field, league bottom for a player living at the rim. Mechanically, her release is a slow-loading catapult. Defenders with wingspan to spare can close the gap before the ball decides to leave her fingertips. Film sessions grow uncomfortable. Rewind, pause, point, repeat. Coaches frame the adjustment as empowerment. Fans hear defanging. Yet the math remains ruthless. If Angel can't drag that percentage north, Chicago's half-court stalls faster than traffic on the Dan Ryan at 5 p.m. So the drills intensify, sweat pooling on the free throw line where she now spends more practice minutes than she once spent entire quarters. Each swish draws head nods. Each brick fuels 100 hot takes waiting in drafts. And that, pundits smirk, is only half the story. Because while Reese is learning to live outside the paint, a 6'7" Brazilian promise is moving in. Camila Cardoso, wingspan like an airport runway, soft touch around the rim, accent thick enough to melt microphones, has been anointed the primary interior option. Cardoso's timing is cinematic. Fresh off a preseason where she bullied veteran posts and grinned through every interview, she now plants both sneakers on territory Angel once called permanent residence. Coaches rave about her gravity, PR teams gush about her international marketability, and highlight packages splice her hooks with samba drums. Chicago suddenly owns a 1-2 punch, except no one is certain who throws the first jab. For Reese, the optics sting. Every step she takes away from the rim is a step Cardoso takes toward it, vacuuming the very rebounds that once padded Angel's nightly double-double security blanket. And the internet, never missing a beat, begins stitching conspiracies faster than a TikTok filter. Is this a basketball decision or brand cannibalism? Then comes the absence. One morning, the media table sees an empty practice chair with Angel Reese taped across the backrest. The team labels it excused, A quick day trip to New York for sponsor obligations, they insist. Logic says routine. Twitter says mutiny. On Free Angel trends by lunchtime. Commenters type in caps about betrayal, sabotage, even whisper that she should demand the first flight out of O'Hare. Meanwhile, Marsh paces mid-court, teaching Cardoso how to seal both elbows while guards split cut above. The physical distance between coach and star becomes a metaphor fit for viral thumbnails. Angel's own silence amplifies every echo. No story posts, no cryptic emojis. Just a void big enough for everyone else's opinions to echo through. In the algorithm's eyes, no comment is louder than any speech. Outside Chicago, the league itself is sprinting forward. Breanna Stewart bombs threes from Logos. Aja Wilson toggles from rim protector to face-up mid-range assassin. Caitlin Clark, only in her second pro season, keeps shattering expectations, threading no-look lasers before defenders can even settle into their matchups. Spacing isn't trendy, it's mandatory. The old map of posts camping in painted rectangles already sits in a museum beside two-handed set shots. General managers trade for shooters the way old teams once hunted 7-footers. Marsh isn't disrupting for shock value. He's surfing the inevitable. The question is whether the Sky's best rebounder can learn to ride the same wave or drown beneath it. For Angel, every jumper she drills at 14 feet pulls her closer to relevance. Every clang invites the specialist label, code for liability when the playoffs slow down. The league won't wait for her to decide. Road A, evolution. Angel buys in, trims seconds off her release, stretches the floor, and turns the double-double machine into a triple-double threat. Her social clout fuses with newfound versatility, and Chicago sneaks back into May playoff conversations. Road B, detonation. She leverages star power, requests a trade, and lands with a franchise eager to let her feast inside. Numbers rise, narrative splits fans into loyalists and skeptics, and every Sky Reese matchup becomes primetime television. Road C, erosion. She hedges, never quite comfortable outside the lane. Stat lines flatten, sponsors reduce activations, and her name fades into remember when debates while Cardoso's jerseys hang in front row merch kiosks. Each road carries a price, discomfort, backlash, or irrelevance, and none of them can be crowdsourced. The ball, quite literally, is in her hands, 15 feet from where she wishes it were. Legacies rarely crumble at once. They chip, crack, and finally split along the quiet fault lines players ignore until the scoreboard exposes them. Angel Reese now stands on one of those fault lines, eyes on the arc where coaches say her future lives, ears ringing with fans begging her to stay the rebounding beast they fell for. Is Chicago shepherding her into stardom's next chapter, or shoving her off-brand to make room for a shinier headline? That verdict isn't up to the comments section, or even Coach Marsh. It will be written in the spaces Angel chooses to occupy on the hardwood and the spaces she refuses to vacate in our feeds. So, viewers, decide. Is this a master plan to elevate a prodigy, or the stealthy erasure of everything that made her must-watch? Light up the replies, slam that subscribe button, and stay tuned, because the next tip-off might just tip the scales for good.